Hi everyone, welcome to the weekly update for the 27th of April. I've got Chris, Brock and Michael here to give us a wrap up of what's happening in each of the three areas across the Northern Corridor. I'll start off with letting you see what we're actually tracking through each of the offices, so we can see what the trends are showing us. We're tracking our data through the full flow of from listing right through to deals being done. So you'll see the order of things that we're tracking, but each one of them for the last 2 weeks has shown a pretty steady increase, which is good to see. So we'll see listings this week have taken a real spike, where there was a fair drop off in the weeks before, people wanting not sure if they're bringing properties to market or not. Inquiry has significantly increased over the last couple of weeks, so we're back up to averaging over 50 inquiries a week, so 10 a day coming into the offices, which is encouraging. Inspections, we're all starting to work out the new rules and getting more comfortable. People are coming out. We're doing one-on-one inspections through properties, and the numbers are starting to increase. Offers have improved for the last couple of weeks as well, but the deal conversion of those offers is still a little bit lower than what we would normally expect. So that indicates there are a few bottom feeders still throwing some numbers around, but the general trend of activity with inspections and then coming through to offers should see some more transactions come through. The inquiry by industry type, we can see the industrials remain pretty strong, but it's kicked back up to more than 15 a week. Retail's been a really good one for the last 2 weeks to see some confidence coming back into that market, and even office has come off a baseline and starting to pick up in the last 2 weeks. So probably kick across to you guys just to get the feedback from the coalface as well. Michael, what are you seeing up the sunny coast?
Well, we've really seen an improvement in the foot traffic and the inquiry online. Ashley, there's been a big growth in the number of people getting out and about. Obviously, the weather's fantastic up here and people are out there. I think that that due to the ability to work remotely, we've seen a lot of people stay on the coast that have made a difference. But yes, there's definitely a very strong increase in inquiry and conversations. And most of all, I've noticed that we're talking to people that are actually very confident in their future. So businesses that we are discussing with, they're really solid about, I've got through this, I know I've got a tough time ahead of me, but I know I'm actually going to make it. And so they're really starting to re-strategize and discover what the new normal looks for themselves. And that means looking for property opportunities all the time.
So it's stopped being about an if we get through it and back to when we get through it, which is kind of seems to be common feedback across the board now from the agents, which is really kind of reassuring, I guess.
Yeah, there's those people that are really taking advantage of the opportunity to negotiate in these times. Obviously, they've got a clear plate with some of the properties that they're going to look at, but I think that that's going to be a limited amount of time on those things as well. So.
Yeah, it makes sense. So, Brock, you were saying that the leasing inquiries spiked for you guys.
Yeah, I think it really echoes some of the graphs and stuff that you were sharing before. The conversations have really turned around from being about, I'll revisit my options when this is over, to now actually going, well, if I can build a 3-month rent-free into it or a fit-out period or something like that, I can make that transaction work for me now. And, if I'm getting a bit of a better deal at the moment, then that's kind of a bonus or a win. But we'd rather see these spaces with people in them than not so much like it was looking like a couple of weeks ago. So I think that confidence in actually being able to set out, a plan of events or a chart that sort of says, well, if we can be at this point by this date, is definitely come back into the market. And I'm not just talking smaller leases where we just leased down here a big space at Aspen Health, and a few other bigger sort of deals at the moment as well. A new accountancy firm at over $130,000 a year income. These sort of deals that have come back to the market now, because once they put incentives into their offer because of the fit out they would have done anyway, et cetera, it kind of feels like COVID isn't now. It's just sort of there while they finalise those next few steps.
And that's probably reflected in our management portfolio, which I've been tracking. So we've got 400 tenancies. Only 9% of them were actually forced closures. And when we looked at the numbers, 57% of them weren't, in their opinion, haven't been impacted. So there's definite pain in the world with and in business and industry, but there's also people that are maintaining and even capitalising. Like the accountants are going to be busy for a while to come yet. So it's that makes sense. So
that also then flows through to that investor market as well, having confidence that they can buy something today and still have a tenant in 12, 18, 24 months time. It's now less about I need to safeguard myself if I'm going to make a judgment call on a property towards a potential downturn, and now be more about, well, am I getting something at the right price regardless of the risk factor? Because I now see that risk factor being considerably lower from an investor.
Massive difference. Yeah. Christopher.
Hello, Ashley. Caboolture to North Lakes region has been, the confidence side of things has really increased in the last 1 to 2 weeks. And for the first time, we're seeing a bit of shuffling around in the office space as well. Mainly guys that are changing their footprint, trying to deal with the new COVID moving forward. So they're talking to us about what their plans are moving forward with working from home from some of their staff and changing their office environment and how that will look. Industrial world is still quite strong. A lot of inquiry. Still a few of the guys, the larger players in particular, still not quite ready to jump in the pool, but they are definitely looking. They think that there's going to be a lot more opportunities and probably better prices to be had, and that's remained to be seen. We don't have a lot of stock. Stock shortage across all of commercial, retail, and industrial is definitely, especially when you're looking at purchasing. It's a real issue, as a lot of guys aren't bringing their properties to market because they're unsure of where the value is going to go. But all in all, we're doing more transactions than we have done, what I thought we would do, and it's looking quite bright.
It's good to know. And the through line we're seeing across the three offices is we're coming off a baseline of really low vacancy rates, and the early thought was this is going to be a substantial drop, business go broke, sheds come empty, and then prices obviously get impacted off the back of that. But the code of conduct for handling tenants and the refrain from that, so no lockouts for 6 months, means there isn't that flood of vacancies coming on. There's not going to be that crash in the leasing market, because we're coming off that really low vacancy rate baseline. Like the Caboolture Industrial Estate with 97% occupancy before we came into this. Yes, there'll be some sheds come vacant, but it's still, when you get a requirement, you keep saying come through your door, there aren't 10 options for any of these pieces in any of these suburbs. It's still going to be pretty limited. There are going to have to be creativity in the structure of lease deals, but there's definitely not blood in the streets when it comes to rates across the board. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. Especially in industrial world, retail world, still a little early to know where that's all headed. And buyers, sellers, tenants, and most of those guys are waiting to see what comes over the next few months. But definitely industrial and commercial, there's not as much stock in the market as what people think. They just assume that every shed or office space has what they want, and that's not the case most times.
All right, we'll keep the weekly reports coming and we'll be tracking the numbers daily. So if you've got any questions on how any of this impacts your property specifically, give any one of the team a call, and we'll keep the info coming. Thanks.
Talk to you soon. All right,
guys.